On a cold January night, the Kennedy Center stood illuminated against the Washington skyline, its marble columns glowing in the winter darkness. Inside, House Republicans gathered for their annual retreat, the air thick with anticipation and uncertainty, as the 2026 midterms loomed ever closer. The keynote speaker, former President Donald J. Trump, still the party's dominant force, took the stage, his presence commanding the room and signaling that this would be no ordinary address. Trump didn't offer the usual platitudes or empty promises. Instead, he issued a stark warning. The upcoming elections, he declared, were about more than just party control. They were about political survival, both for himself and for every Republican in the room. He painted the midterms as a make-or-break moment, insisting that the party's fate and his own political future were now inseparable, bound together by the outcome of the coming battle. Trump's tone was urgent, almost dire, as he framed Democrats not merely as political rivals, but as determined adversaries intent on erasing the legacy of his administration and undoing everything his supporters had fought for. He called for unity, discipline, and a relentless focus on victory, making it clear that any loss would have consequences far beyond a single election cycle, consequences that could reshape the party for years to come. The Kennedy Center's grandeur only heightened the drama, as Trump skipped any talk of bipartisanship, focusing instead on the harsh realities of partisan warfare and the need for unwavering loyalty. He told lawmakers their fortunes were tied to his own, warning that defeat would threaten not just their majority, but the very future of his presidency and the movement he leads. The message was unmistakable. Republicans must stand together, united in purpose, or risk losing everything they have built. Trump's address set the tone for the retreat. A rallying cry and a stark warning rolled into one, echoing through the halls and leaving lawmakers with a sense of urgency. The stakes, he insisted, could not be higher. The outcome of the 2026 midterms would determine not just the balance of power, but the very direction of the country. For Trump and the GOP, 2026 is more than just another election. It is a battle for survival, a defining moment that will shape their legacy for generations to come. The night's most electrifying moment came when Trump invoked the threat of impeachment. He warned, "Lose the House, and Democrats will impeach me, again." This wasn't idle speculation, it was a calculated move to rally Republicans, making the midterms a referendum on his presidency. Trump reminded lawmakers of past impeachment battles, urging them to see unity as their only shield. He argued that their political survival was tied to his, and that Democrats would use any means to remove him from power. The message that stole from Muradina, Masadawin. A GOP loss means chaos, investigations, and a presidency under siege. Trump's warning was a call to arms, hold the line or face political disaster. In today's climate, he insisted, power is the only true defense. Trump's impeachment warning flowed into a demand for absolute party unity. He insisted that internal squabbles and ideological debates must be set aside. Victory required a single, disciplined message. Trump positioned himself as the party's unifying force, making it clear: unity is self-preservation. He urged lawmakers to speak with one voice, stick to the script, and avoid distractions. The strategy: create an external threat so great that it overshadows internal differences. Trump's branding expertise was on display. He wanted a campaign machine, not a collection of individuals. Loyalty to his agenda was non-negotiable. Deviation would be seen as betrayal. The GOP, he argued, must function as a single unit to survive. Trump's message: unity isn't just strategy, it's survival. The party's future, he warned, depends on it. Shifting to policy, Trump named lowering prescription drug prices as the GOP's top campaign issue. He urged Republicans to champion affordable health care, positioning themselves as the true opponents of Big Pharma. Trump's directive, make drug prices a kitchen table issue, connecting with voters' daily struggles. He advised focusing on transparency, importation of cheaper drugs, and direct negotiations with pharmaceutical companies. The message: Republicans fight for lower costs, while Democrats protect special interests. Trump reminded lawmakers of his past efforts, insisting this issue could win over undecided voters and even some Democrats. By leading with drug prices, the GOP could sidestep divisive healthcare debates and broaden its appeal. Trump made clear economic concerns are paramount, and this is the issue to own. It's a strategic move to claim ground traditionally held by Democrats. Trump's focus on drug prices is strategic. This issue hits home for millions. He urged Republicans to show empathy, positioning the party as the advocate against corporate greed. The message cuts across party lines, appealing to independents and frustrated Democrats. By targeting big pharma, Republicans can sidestep the pitfalls of broader healthcare debates. The issue is especially potent among seniors, a key midterm demographic. Trump's goal: energize the base and win over swing voters with a promise of real financial relief. It's a compassionate, market-based approach that projects the GOP as problem solvers. The promise: direct action on a problem voters feel every day. Trump's second campaign pillar is a tough-on-crime agenda, promising a return to law and order across the nation. He urged Republicans to spotlight rising crime rates in American cities and to draw a sharp contrast between their law and order stance and what he calls the Democrats' soft-on-crime image. The message is clear. Republicans, he says, will restore safety by supporting police, empowering law enforcement, and holding criminals fully accountable for their actions. Trump called for increased police funding, tougher sentencing for violent offenders, and an end to progressive policies like cashless bail, which he argues put dangerous criminals back on the streets. The strategy is to tap into public anxiety about safety, especially in urban and suburban communities, and position the GOP as the party that will protect families and restore order. He used the defund the police movement as a political weapon, painting Democrats as out of touch with the concerns of everyday Americans who want safe neighborhoods. The tough-on-crime message energizes the Republican base and appeals to suburban voters who are increasingly worried about safety and security in their communities. Trump's directive is to be unapologetically pro-police, to stand with law enforcement, and to reject narratives that blame police for society's problems. The goal is to make public safety a clear dividing line in the midterms, forcing voters to choose between two starkly different visions for America's future. For Trump, crime is not just a policy issue, it's a rallying cry meant to unite his supporters and define the Republican brand heading into the next election. Trump's third campaign issue, the debate over transgender athletes in women's sports, he urged Republicans to frame it as a matter of fairness and women's rights, appealing to suburban voters and energizing the conservative base. The directive: keep the message simple. Sports should be divided by biological sex at birth. Trump argued this issue resonates because it touches on tradition, fairness, and parental concerns. He positioned it as a symbol of the broader culture war, using it to define Democrats as extreme. The issue is low risk, high reward for the GOP, solidifying the base and putting Democrats on the defensive. Trump's inclusion of this topic shows his understanding of the power of cultural grievances. He's betting it will motivate voters and tip key races. Trump's three pillars, drug prices, crime, and transgender athletes, form a unified strategic message for 2026. The approach blends economic populism, law and order rhetoric, and cultural conservatism. Each issue targets a key demographic, but together they create a powerful, cohesive narrative. Trump's playbook: keep the message simple, memorable, and consistent across all campaigns. He insisted that every Republican candidate stay on script to control the national conversation. The goal: voters everywhere hear the same promise: lower drug costs, safer streets, and protection of women's sports. Repetition is key to breaking through campaign noise. Trump's strategy is a masterclass in political messaging, giving the GOP a clear identity. He's betting this formula will secure Congress and protect his presidency. The unified message is the party's firewall against impeachment. Trump made it clear. The 2026 midterms are a referendum on his presidency, not just a fight for Congress. He's framing the election as a defining moment, one that will determine not only the fate of his administration, but the direction of the entire Republican Party for years to come. Every House race, he argued, is a battle in a larger war for political survival. Each district, each seat, is a front line in a struggle that could reshape the balance of power in Washington. For the GOP, victory means legislative power and protection from impeachment. It's a chance to push their agenda, pass key bills, and shield their president from political attacks. For Trump, it's about securing his legacy and fending off political enemies. The stakes are deeply personal. His reputation, his influence, and his future all hang in the balance. A win would validate his agenda and solidify his control over the party. It would send a message to both allies and critics that his vision still dominates American politics. A loss, he warned, would trigger investigations, chaos, and a presidency under siege. The opposition would seize the chance to launch probes, challenge his authority, and try to dismantle his achievements. The stakes: 2 more years of advancing his agenda, or 2 years locked in partisan warfare. The outcome could mean progress or gridlock, depending on which side prevails. For lawmakers, defeat means a return to the minority and loss of influence. It's not just about policy, but about power, committee seats, and the ability to shape the national conversation. For Trump, it means a hostile House determined to hold him accountable. Investigations, subpoenas, and relentless scrutiny would become the new normal. The outcome will shape the country's direction and the future of the Trump administration. It's a pivotal moment that will echo far beyond the next 2 years. The GOP's unified message, drug prices, crime, and culture, will be their weapon. They're betting that these issues will resonate with voters and drive turnout in key districts. As campaigns begin, the nation will watch to see if this strategy delivers victory. The eyes of America will be fixed on the results, knowing the consequences will be felt by everyone. For Trump and the GOP, everything is on the line. The 2026 midterms aren't just another election. They're a battle for the soul of the party, and perhaps the nation itself.